I am Mark Weiner. I am the vocalist frontman of the band Çöküş, and we love to go to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I'll hit record on this thing, but we've been working on that with Dave, and then I think we had a number of, I had a number of mishaps and work and all that stuff, and then he goes, "Are you guys ever going to get around to talking to him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we got to do it." And I think this time works fine by me actually, because it was really a struggle trying to get something earlier in the day. So perfect.
Right on.
So, we got somebody else.
Yeah, it should be Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Oh, there we go.
Wise. Yeah. Mine says Sarah, and it's my daughter.
Oh, okay. Now he's coming.
Obviously using her laptop.
Yeah, right.
There we go. All right, I got audio.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Ruben.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
What's up?
What up, Wise?
So
looks like we got the hat memo today.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a hat too. We got to see what he's wearing. Wait, you're wearing Bass Pro Shop. Nice. There we go. I got the Zach Sabbath. I don't know
nice.
What do you got? What do you got?
I got the infamous come and go of the Upper Midwest gas station.
There you go. Nice.
You know what's crazy about this? We just did a podcast last week, and none of us had hats on.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, maybe it's a bad hair day or bad hair evening, I guess, huh? Or
My
night.
pretty good.
Well, right. I hardly have any left, but anyway.
Waz doesn't have any either.
Oh,
It's been long ago.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I can relate to him. I can relate to him. So you guys, one of the things about this band that you guys have, this record that you came out with, I on Friday the 13th, right, of last month. Was it not Friday the 13th? So an hour of lies. And the one thing here, starting things off, the tune Wolf Moon. Now, again, you guys have this kind of, I don't know if you take offense to this, but like this kind of doomy, gothy, but also metal thing about you. But the other thing there, Mark, that I heard in that tune, and I don't know if anybody, or I don't know if he's been an influence, but I heard some Glenn Hughes in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a classic rock 70s singer.
Okay.
Lover.
Nice. Well, you can't go wrong with Glenn Hughes, but
He can still do it.
Yeah, he could still do it at 70 something or other, right?
He's seasoned. I don't know the number.
Yeah, something like that. But anyways, so tell us about the music, about the band. I mean, first of all, the name, because I can't even say it. I know it's Turkish for
nobody can say it.
Downfall or collapse or something like that. But how do you say it again?
It gets a lot of questions for sure.
Yeah.
Çöküş.
Okay.
And think like choke.
Yeah.
And remember those things from the 90s, koosh balls? So
I remember those things that you used to, remember those dolls that you would wiggle and it'd gobble or something as you're strangling it? You know what I'm talking about. I mean, my kid had one of those. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Origin of the name, like why, how?
Well, there's kind of a dumb story behind it, but we were just BSing one night on one of our many conference calls because we're all on parts of the earth. I think Mark said something along the lines of, we were doing band pictures, right? Yeah, he's like, Jason, you look like Jesus, Watts, you look like Moses, and I guess that makes me Çöküş. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? So we looked it up after we got done, and it turns out it's this Turkish word that means decline or fall. I was like, all right, it's got umlauts on it. And, the whole
can't go wrong with those, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
and we get a lot of questions. It gets a lot of attention, which all publicity is publicity, right?
So with the sound, I mean, how would you guys describe it? Because I just threw out three things that kind of come to mind, and part of it was that 70s influence. That's where the Glenn Hughes comes in, I think.
You want to take it, Mark?
I'm sorry, what was
Yeah,
exact
it was just
question?
like, how would you guys describe the sound? I mean, I
Well,
mentioned doom,
it's not-
gothic, heavy metal,
I think it's a heavy rock album, first and foremost, with just like what we did in Earth and Grave. There
Mhm.
was metal in there, there was doom in there was classic, well, with the violinist. And I think we taken some of that kind of chemistry and incorporated some of it, or a lot of it into Focus. But then you hear a song like Hammer to Fall, it's a straight
Mhm.
rock and roll metal song, like Judas Priest.
Yeah.
So, overall, I think it's a heavy hard rock band.
Okay.
Yeah, I would call us a metal band for, lack of a better term.
Right.
I think hard rock kind of gives you connotations of certain things that
Right.
maybe not everybody wants to think about, like that Columbia House mailer you used to get where you had to pick like a genre and stuff like
Right.
that. And
Right.
it's like, no, I want metal.
Wait, how old of a guy are you? And how much money do you owe them for that penny that you got that you committed?
Penny, right? Turned
Right.
it into like $1,000, went to collections, all that fun stuff. Yeah.
And that's why they are where they're not now, right? They're not in
exactly.
existence. Okay, so as far as the scene there in your area, I mean, what's that like for you guys? I know in here in the Northwest, I mean, obviously we had the grunge era, and then
That was
now it's
huge.
alternative. But now with you guys, I mean, what's the scene like in your area as far as heavy
I'll
music?
let Mark speak from Chicago's perspective because I'm actually in your neck of the woods, Ruben. I'm in Snohomish County, Washington.
Oh,
so.
shoot. I'm sorry.
And so
good, man.
Bob's is all over that ass out there with bands. I mean,
There you go.
playing out all the time, got a killer rec, got a killer music, killer record.
Mhm.
So he knows definitely that area. In Chicago, it always seems kind of like islandy unless you're in with a couple bands or whatever. I've been out of like since Earth and Grave for a little bit of time, but there's definitely some bands playing out there for sure that should be playing. Now that the nonsense with the COVID stuff, and all the bands that Gates of Slumber, Apostle of Solitude, have released
Right.
albums that had done stuff quite well, especially Gates of Slumber. They didn't release an album in a long time. Leads of the Dude with Ron Holzner and his camp. If you're just focusing like more on the metal doom scene, and that's
Right.
probably the only thing I really follow.
Now, I mean, I know Chicago, I think typically you think of like industrial. I think Troubles originated in Chicago, right? And
Yes.
what a band, man. I mean, I think you can't go wrong with them either. I mean, excellent band.
we have a few connections back to Trouble. That's
Just a little.
just a little. Yeah, but Chicago is kind of strange like that, that
Mhm.
there's never been like a big like grunge movement or anything like that hit Chicago.
And then you also think of like blues music, right? I mean,
right,
definitely a huge.
I mean,
scene
if there
for
ever
blues
was
music.
like a big thing or a movement that it was
Right.
part of Chicago, you would blues is probably the last thing that really and still does have a pretty good foothold in Chicago. But any other genre, it's kind of hit or miss. There's like usually one band, but not like a big clique or group of bands that kind of rove wander together within the city or throughout the country.
So how does this work? Because you're in the Northwest, and then you guys are in Chicago area, I think, right? So
yeah, Mark's in Chicago, and Jason, who couldn't join us tonight, he's down in Austin, Texas. So
so you're all over the place.
Distance relationship kind of band,
right?
But and we've been doing this for like 10 years now, and it wasn't something that came as a result of the pandemic or anything like that. We had already all gone our separate ways after Earth and Grave kind of wound up in 2014. We were all living in the Chicago area at that time.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's when I moved away, Jason moved away, And Jason and I, he had always done long distance relationship bands. He was in Living Fields, which was also people like all over North America. I mean, there's a guy in Canada, and he was in Chicago, so on and so forth. So he was already used to doing kind of the digital tape trading, if you will, with band members.
It did it good too. It did it good.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And that says a lot for 15, 20 years ago. It's obviously really now. But yeah, we were kind of, I guess you could say, on the bleeding edge of using stuff like Reaper and Google Drive to record material and share with each other over the cloud. I know everybody talks about doing this like it's no big deal now, but even just 10 years ago, that was kind of new.
Right. And how do you keep that? I mean, because I know, sometimes when bands work in that fashion, sometimes it sucks the energy out of the tune and becomes sterile and not really spontaneous. I mean, have you guys found yourselves in those kinds of positions where you threw something out because it just wasn't clicking right, or the vibe wasn't there?
Yeah, no, honestly, it's more the situation where we weren't really generating any material, not getting together. I mean, even the first initial things that Jason had sent to me were stuff that we had worked on the very last days of Earth and Grave while we were still in person with each other. Right. And then there was a period of time where we just worked on those songs, and maybe he created one or two that we hadn't heard before. But it wasn't until we started getting together in person a few years later, like we would all get together in Chicago for whatever reason, get together and jam in Mark's cousin's garage. And that's when a lot of the rest of the tracks that are on the album came to be, or at least for like had their inception moment when we came together and jammed those songs out. It's like, okay, we got something there. Right. Let's roll with it. So yeah, it was always about us getting together in person.
Utilizing that moment because when these guys came in, it was only like 2 or 3 days.
Oh, okay.
We're very fortunate that we're so close that, not to brag, some bands can't create. It's not 3 days to create it. It's like in 3 days you're together in a room for 3 hours. If you get 2 songs out of it, that's very, very positive.
Right.
We had to do it that way because once these guys got on airplanes,
we
not again for 7-8 months.
Sure. How important is melody for you guys in the tunes to incorporate that in there?
Melody?
Yeah.
Well, that would be pretty much my department.
Right.
But always go with the music first. Once Woz pretty much solidifies his parts, the guitars kind of fall in place.
Right.
I pretty much know verse, chorus, this, that, and he'll dictate melodies over the vocals.
How do you get? I mean, is the band able to give you feedback on your lyrics and your vocal lines and stuff? And how do you take that?
If we get to do it, on the fly, like those garage sessions that my brother Stone Studios, then they're hearing some organic stuff going on because they're just building a foundation of a song with the 2 or 3 parts. Or it could just be Jason's riff, extra Wozzy, shoot it to me and go, okay, here's some parts.
Right.
Have at it.
Right.
And that took some time because I was always a band guy. You go to band practice, you collaborate together, record it cheaply, go back home, listen away, and a week later come back, do it 2 times that week. Here's some parts, and now you're on your own.
Right.
Figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think
it was work. It was work. It wasn't easy. I mean, look, it was 10 years.
I gotta say though that the riff on Wolf Moon is awesome. I mean, that one, like, really, I'm just like, what? I mean, I wasn't expecting to hear that riff in that tune. I mean, it really blew me away.
That's what's cool about Coke is you can hear a song like Wolf Moon and then leave it behind, a rock and roll song.
Right.
We used to call it the Motley Crue song.
Oh, no kidding. So that's your which Motley Crue song is that? Is that Girls, Girls, Girls?
Album, what did you say, Mark?
Leave It Behind was we used to call it the Motley Crue song.
The Motley Crue.
Because originally it was written, it was like real fast, and
Okay.
we ended
But
up
like Red Hot, you know, that kind of.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
total 80s sex, drugs, rock and roll song.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Motley, I mean, they've kind of devolved, but you know, I think the first couple
I
records
was
are
saying the
still
song evolved after that. It didn't end up a 80s rock and roll song. So.
so why did you guys get into music aside from chicks? I mean, aside from the chicks, right?
Yeah. Well, I got
That's
into
number
music when
one.
I was 5. I was already into, you know, chicks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this was part of the package. You know, I had to become a musician so I could get all the ladies in first grade. You know, that's basically.
We have to say you were also in first grade at that time.
Yes. Oh, yes. I was in first grade. I was. Yes.
Oh, boy.
You know what the best is? I got more chicks since not being in a full-time original band from 14 till now than ever.
Oh, wow.
But in all seriousness, though, I started on piano early on. My mom really wanted me to do that. I wanted to play drums. It took about 7 years, but eventually had my way. And when I was 12 years old, get my first drum kit. I don't know. It was just always in me. It was always something I wanted to do, and it's you know, something I don't know how I would have survived without.
Right. How do you guys go about selecting the subject matter? Because I mean, again, like you said, you know, some of it's doomy, so dark. You know, so is the subject matter, right? So, but then, you know, does it have to fit the confines of the doomy metal sound, or are you guys open to different things and not being locked into this box?
Well, I know "Died on a Vine" doesn't sound like a doom song,
Mm-hmm.
but you're right. As much as I love doom music, this band is so versatile that it shouldn't be just locked in with doom as much as we love it, but we love a lot of other styles as well. So hopefully the band, it's not a bad problem, but
and I think the thing I was thinking about too is like, oh, when I saw doom, I always think of, oh man, Typo Negative, Opeth, you know, I mean, again, great bands. I mean, I'm a fan, but I don't roll out of bed and go, I got to go pop in some Typo Negative to start the day. I mean, you know, it just doesn't happen that way. I do, you know, midway through the day might go, I want to listen to something off Bloody Kisses or something.
Especially this time of year, right? You know,
I mean, it's Halloween, October Rust. October Rust time.
For sure.
But you know what I'm saying. I mean, I think you guys are it sounds like you guys are open to kind of stepping outside of that box.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even with doom, though, you ask 10 different people to name a doom band, they're going to give you 10 very different answers. I mean, assuming they even somewhat know what they're talking about. It's such a diverse genre, and it can really be extended to a lot of different bands. And there's a lot of bands that don't even do that as their main thing. You know, they just dabble into that every once in a while. I feel like we're more one of those bands. I mean, we all have our roots in doom and stoner rock and some droney stuff and things like that. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It's hard to. I guess it's kind of hard to call this a doom project or a doom band. I don't know if that's necessarily correct.
Right. I mean, there's elements of that. I think and like I said, with the perfect example, it was the first tune I heard from you guys, and this is when I latched onto was Wolf Moon. You know, again, it's got all those elements: the melodic, the classic rock, the doom, the heavy metal, the riff. Again, going back to that one. I mean, it just kind of encapsulates all that stuff into one.
Thank you.
5+ minute tune or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it hits the spot.
The longest song.
Yeah,
I think there's one thing that's consistent about not only this band, but all the bands that all of us have ever been in, and that they're all influenced by Sabbath in one way, shape, or form or another. I mean, if you're looking for a common thread, that's the one. I mean, that will. I will never join a band that doesn't have that, kind of streak in it. I think these other guys probably agree with me on that one.
100%.
Right. And I think you guys brought up a good point. I mean, I think it being versatile. I mean, most people listen to Sabbath and some people I've heard some people call them classic rock, which they are,
Sure.
and metal, which they are, doom, which they
Yes.
are, right? I mean,
Yes.
it could be all three. So,
Absolutely. I mean, you could argue some of their early stuff was blues and jazz. I mean,
mhm.
you get all over
Yeah,
the
no
place with these
kidding.
definitions.
Right. So what's the game plan now, going, as we're winding down 2024? I mean, what do you guys play select shows, or how does that work with the band kind of scattered all over the United States?
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna be playing a ton of local shows in Chicago or here in Seattle, I
Mhm.
mean, we'll probably, do some here and there, but, we're mostly looking for, festivals or, big shows and,
Mhm.
ideal locations. If that happens to be Chicago, Seattle, Austin, the places that
Right.
we're in, cool.
Right.
If not, you know, we're open to it. The other thing that we're definitely working on now is, new material. Jason's
Oh,
he's
wow.
a creative, guy. You can't stop him. It's just this terrible problem.
Or
that
should we?
this guy makes all this great music. So we've already got a big old drive on that. Or we already got a big old folder on that Google Drive full of all
Oh,
kinds
geez.
of rips and stuff like that. So
Nice.
we're not going to take any breaks. We got work to do. We're going to get back to it.
Out of curiosity, I mean, what's the last show you guys caught? The last concert you were at.
I guess that was technically Holder played up here weeks ago. They're on tour, black metal band. Well, black metal lady,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
one of those one person projects. Obviously, she has a band that she brings with her. But yeah, that's the last show I caught. It was a couple other black metal bands on the bill. Spectral Moon was on there.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the last show I happened to catch,
Wow.
and it was killer.
Yeah. Nice.
And then
What do you
Mark and I got to see Metallica and Pantera earlier this summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean,
Plus.
I think personally, I think I've seen Metallica enough that I probably, I was thinking about going to that one in Seattle, but then I'd be like, I'd probably leave right after Pantera, and probably be okay with it, I think. But how was the Pantera, or Terra,
I thought
or
Pantera was-
however you want to call them? I mean, again, it's a tribute to the music, is what it is, I think.
I
Yeah,
thought Pantera was really good. The things musically, it changed their tuning a little bit, but I get it. I totally get it, but it's
Yeah.
still very entertaining. It's killer to see. Feels sounding fucking awesome. I've
Nice.
watched some of the Metallica stuff, the lights, maybe because I'm 49 years old now. It's too intense for me. So Woz was a trooper. He stayed in his seat for a while.
Oh, wow.
I ducked from the corridor, grabbed a cold beer. I'm good from this angle.
Yeah. See,
after that show, I saw I Hate God with Exhorter at Regis.
Oh, wow. Nice. I think I did see Metallica when they did the Hardwired tour at the Moda Center in Portland. Unfortunately, it was like, I think it probably wasn't this long, but it sure seemed like 3 hours of what's his name?
Lars.
The comedian. Oh shoot, I forgot. You know what I'm talking about? The guy that was on Saturday Night Live. Oh. What's his name? It starts with a B. Oh. Well, anyways, the comedian. He was hosting a lot of that stuff and was doing comedy, and it just dragged on. And by the time Metallica came on, I was like, man, I think my sciatic nerve is acting up. And sure enough, it screwed me up for like a month. So talk about old guy talk. So there you go.
Are you talking about Brian Posehn?
No, Posehn is great. No,
Yeah,
I'm talking.
no, yeah.
I better look him up. But the one thing I'll ask you guys as I wind this down is, this is going to be for We Go to 11. So obviously it has a little bit of a Spinal Tap, reference in the title. So both of you. I mean, what's a Spinal Tap moment that you guys experienced on stage? And I don't know who wants to take it while I look up who this comedian was, because now it's
We're probably
killing
gonna
me.
both have the same one. You go first, Mark.
Oh my God.
All right, I'll say it's the moment. Cleveland, you can't find the stage.
Right.
That's happened to me at least a couple times, and I'm pretty sure that happened to us in Earth and Grave at one point, Mark.
You know what I did? That was kind of bad. I thought it was killer when I did it. We were in Texas playing a Texas Heavy Fest. And the White Sox were playing the Rangers. And then we started winning, and I pointed at the TV and said something on TV negative against the Rangers. I don't know, about 250 people just left.
Texas sports fans are kind of serious about their
Ron Holzer's like, don't ever do that again. But that was fucking cool. It was all right because we were doing Blood Drunk, and most of the guys don't like that song anyway. Didn't like that song.
No. So
I've certainly experienced the Jazz Odyssey moments a few times in my career too.
Okay.
Spinal Tap.
Well, at least you didn't explode. Can you imagine if you spontaneously combusted? They'd be without a drummer, and the guy would be the band would be without a replacement guy, right? They'd have to get another guy to fill in the seat, and then that guy would explode as well.
Explode as well. Despite others' wishes, that hasn't happened yet.
Is it Jim Brewer?
Oh shit! All right, yeah.
Oh,
all right. Last name star would be okay.
Boy, that was a nightmare and a half, you guys. I mean, like, again, I have to next time if I ever meet the guy, I have to punch him in the face. I mean,
he was opening for Metallica.
He was opening for Metallica and doing like this morning zoo thing with the local radio station that just dragged out for like, it seemed like 3 hours. It was probably 2. But it was hellacious. And it screwed up my sciatic nerve, and it took like 3 months, believe it or not, for it to actually get better, so yeah
anyway. It just had his moments, but I don't think opening
the whole Goat Boy thing, and it was Goat Boy, right? Goat Boy,
that and
David Lee Roth and the Goat Boy and all that shit.
Exactly.
I mean, I hope you guys do some Northwest shows, because I'd like to. Now you said you threw out Seattle. You got to do, if you do one in Seattle, you have to do one in Portland.
Absolutely. And if you got any suggestions for bands that we should play with down there,
there you go.
Yeah. I mean,
lay them on us.
I mean, I think
if anybody's asking, suggest us, because I'll set something up. I know the venues down there, and I'll get these guys out here. I know they want to do it.
I mean, I think as far, especially you guys, I mean, and I don't know how familiar you are with the layout of downtown Portland and stuff, but definitely like Dante's. And then there's also like another area where there's the Hawthorne Theater. My dogs are going crazy, but somebody's probably visiting or trying to break in. So if somebody whacks me, I got it recorded. But anyway, so I think Hawthorne and Dante's is right up your guys' alley. There's always been at least
like High Watermark or something like
that. High Watermark's another good one. There's a lot of I guess they call them like little dives, but I mean, they're well attended as far as shows and stuff. So
people come out to shows in Portland for sure.
Right.
Viral Tyrant's a band I think that we would pair well with in Portland.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, there's a band, and I was joking with Mike, my buddy that puts together the videos. I always joke, and I go, I don't know if you've heard of the band Proven. I'm like, hey, I haven't heard about them. And he goes, they're having to playing at Dante's. And I'm like, oh, there you go. I haven't heard, but they're always one of those, like a hardcore band, kind of in this style of like Hatebreed type of deal. But, I think giving people variety also works too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like just like we were talking about, we don't want to be limited to doom. If there's a band we want to play with or that we like or just makes sense,
right?
Let's do it.
Right. All right. Hey, well, it's been a pleasure, you guys. I hope to
Likewise.
catch up with you guys again. I mean, if you guys play any gigs out in the Northwest, we definitely have to connect again.
I will let you know. We'll get you on the guest list, and be good to meet you in person.
All right. And if we see Mr. Jim Bruner, we'll sock him in the head or something. I mean, he owes me for that. I mean, that physical therapy wasn't cheap, man.
Yeah, but we'll take care of him, man.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Ruben.
Yeah.
Cheers.